Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Fabulous, fabulous. Got a guest coming up later in the program. Going to be visiting with Johnny and Lonnie Unser about tire safety. They are IndyCar drivers. Johnny's a retired driver, and his daughter Lonnie is a new driver. So excited to visit with them. Also, got a couple of quotes for you here today as I bump into things. Saturday, June the 3rd, the quote is from Frank Lloyd Wright. Do you like Frank Lloyd Wright?
I do.
He's a really
Very
cool
much.
architect. He says, I know the price of success, dedication, hard work, and an unremitting devotion to the things you want to see happen. That is the price of success. And for Sunday, June 4th, the quote is, happiness is an inside job. That is from Anonymous. Don't they always have just the greatest things from Anonymous?
Yes.
Anonymous, you should really step up and be counted. Coming up, we've got some great things going on this weekend. We'll tell you about it in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you'd never ask. Let's do the whole darn weekend. Saturday, June the 3rd is Chimborazo Day. It is Doodah Parade Day, Draw Day or Pencil Day, Loving Day, National Prairie Day, National Trails Day, the Wicket World of Croquet Day, and Turtle Races Day. Sunday, June the 4th is Audacity to Hope Day, International Day of Innocent Children Victims of Aggression, National Cancer Survivors Day, Old Maids Day, Children's Awareness Memorial Day. All of that going on Sunday the 4th. Old Maids Day. I remember when I first got married to you, you guys were talking about playing a card game, Old Maids, and your Aunt Bernadette got all upset and left the room.
Yes.
Because she had never married. And I never really thought about that. But that was, think about how rude that is to call that game what they called it.
Yeah.
And she got all upset.
Yeah, she would play with, she was mentally challenged. Bernadette was. So she would play the game with us, but if she ever got stuck with the old maid, it was ugly.
It was a bad deal.
Yeah. I mean, I got scratched one time by
Yikes.
her. Yeah. It was not good. So
that's
when
where
she
you
was
get your-
picking cards out of your hand, you always had to squeeze really hard if she was grabbing for the old maid. 'Cause
that one. Pick a different card. Trust me. All right. Coming up, we got some great things to talk about on this weekend edition of the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
I love watching TV shows and movies, but I hated seeing my monthly bill get higher and higher. All that money every month just to watch TV. Well, not anymore. We cut our cable. We were paying $185 a month for channels we didn't even watch. Now we pay for just the internet, and we save about $150 a month. And we still get to watch what we want, when we want, with no monthly fee. Learn how you can do this too at channelsurfertv.com. Watch the video there to learn how to watch movies and TV with no monthly fee. Do it today and save 50% at channelsurfertv.com.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Heidi, do you remember what we did on New Year's Eve?
not at all.
No, we just talked about this. We were having this discussion leading up to Cinco de Mayo because we were planning on, what do we want to do? I don't know. And we were like, what do we do for New Year's Eve? And we honestly, neither one of us can remember.
No, I don't know. I don't know if we stayed home. I don't know if we went out. I have
So
no clue
if you
what we
know
did.
where we were on New Year's Eve. Anyway, that's the same problem this Welsh accountant is having. Now, I can tell you, I think the reason we don't remember is because we're just boring and we stayed home and slept, most likely.
I don't know what we did.
I don't remember either. But a Welsh accountant may have enjoyed himself a little too much on New Year's Eve. And he took out a newspaper advertisement to apologize to anyone who he may have offended with his antics he can barely remember. Starting off with, to whom it may concern, Howard Potter's contrite, abject, and public apology continues. It says the Western Mail begged he begged the forgiveness of the staff of the Cardiff Hotel, of a man at a fish bar, and 2 passing police officers. All of these people, and doubtless many more, were at some time during a long night castigated, vilified, embarrassed, or worse, bored, for which he most humbly and respectfully apologizes, the ad continues. So he apparently had an interesting night.
What's a fish bar?
I don't know. I've never heard of a fish bar either. So I'm wondering if that's just like a bar down by the river, maybe? Do you think?
I have no clue what a fish bar is.
The Cardiff Hotel. Where is this? This is Howard Potter is the guy's name. Oh, Welsh. So this is from, where are Welsh people from? Welshland?
Wales?
Is that what it is? Wales?
I believe so.
So I suppose if you're from Wales, you don't want to be called a whale. Hey, are you a whale? No, I'm Welsh. Okay, that makes more sense. So from Welshville, or wherever these guys happen to be from, he had one heck of a New Year's Eve and doesn't really remember what he did, but he put a newspaper ad out to apologize to everyone. I almost wonder if that's worse, because now here we are on the other side of the world talking about it. I mean, wouldn't it almost be better to just be embarrassed by the few that knew that you were a knucklehead? Anyway, now we all know that it's true because we heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter. If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is your brain on drugs. Police near Carlisle, Pennsylvania stopped a weaving car. When they pulled over, the man was sitting in the driver's seat by the name of Lucas Enbecker. He was eating a giant sandwich with both hands. The man in the passenger seat said, "Sorry, officer, that's my fault. The weaving was my fault. I was steering while he was eating." The officer realized the man was a little intoxicated, gave a field sobriety test. He failed. Blood alcohol measured 2.37. Three times the legal limit. Pittman, who was in the passenger seat, mind you, was charged with driving under the influence. Enbacher, who was driving and passed the field sobriety test, was in the driver's seat, and he was responsible for the vehicle, but he was not charged. So, first time I've ever heard of a passenger getting a ticket for drinking and driving. But he was the one in control of the vehicle while it was weaving. That's why they said, okay, well, then it's your fault. And you enjoy your sandwich. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
I'm going to eat my sandwich. Hey, you want to grab the wheel for me? I'm going to grab a hold of this hoagie and
I
go
bet
to
those
town.
two aren't friends anymore.
Probably not. We've got your moment of duh on the way.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. Apparently some people don't quite understand the whole library system. A woman who visited the University of Indiana's math department asked an employee to see a copy of a doctoral dissertation and then, in a bold and daring move, stole the document. The employee saw the woman run across the street and jump into a passenger seat of a waiting truck and then sped off. Department chairperson David Hoff said, "The theft is puzzling because copies of dissertations can be checked out at no cost whatsoever. So we're not sure why she decided to steal this rather than just get a copy of it.
She wanted to just
Take
keep it.
Apparently. Maybe there was something in that dissertation that was going to prove that she killed somebody or something. Ooh, it could have been evidence, Heidi.
If that's the case, she would have wanted the original.
Maybe we also watched too much Forensic Files. That could be. The scoop of the day is coming your way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you promised yourself you'd lose weight before you went to the beach, that's still within reach. Get some help from a cool pink drink. Try it free at pinkdrinkfree.com. This pink drink tastes great and can help you lose weight. 8 out of 10 Americans are overweight. If you're tired of being one of them, we'd love to help. People around the country are experiencing amazing results with this pink drink, and you can try it before you buy it at pinkdrinkfree.com. That's pinkdrinkfree.com.
John and Heidi.
Now your scoop of the day. This almost became my brain on drug segment, but it's only one line. I don't know what we would have talked about for the rest of that minute because I give myself a minute for that story.
Okay.
Here, time me. How long does this take? A Kentucky woman claims she was Hillary Clinton when she was pulled over by police for a DUI.
Funny.
End of story. Yeah, they're like, "Have you been drinking tonight?" She's like, "Yeah." "What's your name, ma'am?" "Hillary Clinton." And they're like, "I think you're lying." "Wait, maybe you are Hillary Clinton." "No, I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing. Don't get all upset with me. I'm just having fun." So I don't know what the deal was. Why would you claim that? I don't understand why you would. It's not like they're not going to find out, or they wouldn't know.
Maybe she resembled her and thought she could get away with that.
Well, when she was drinking, maybe she thought she resembled. Who knows? When you're drinking, you think a lot of dumb things. Einstein Brothers Bagel Chain just launched the world's first caffeinated bagel. It's the Espresso Buzz Bagel. The bagels each contain 32 milligrams of caffeine, which is about a third of the amount you'll find in a cup of coffee. Have we talked about this?
Yes.
Okay, I was going to say, I think we have. Wyoming tops the nation in chewing tobacco. About 1 in 6 adult men in that state use the chewing tobacco products. Government researchers found men who use chew and snuff and other smokeless products men use them at much higher rates than women. So there you go.
Yeah, well, I don't think they needed to do a study to find that out.
You enjoy a cigar from time to time, and that's typically a man thing. Just you and Calamity Jane are the ones that smoke.
It's not true.
Yeah, pretty much.
A lot of women enjoy cigars.
Sure they do.
Demi Moore smokes cigars.
Oh, yeah. You and Demi Moore and Calamity Jane. Astronomers at Columbia University say they have devised a way to hide our planet from hostile aliens. We will cloak the Earth using giant lasers. I hope you guys know what you're doing. Otherwise, we will destroy the Earth using giant lasers. It's a bad idea. Can you test it on the moon first? Let's see if you can. Let's not start here. Let's start somewhere else. Any dieters know that it's hard to keep weight off. Now, a study finds even a year after dieters shed a good chunk of weight quickly, their hormones are still saying, eat, eat, eat. I've known that for a long time.
Yeah.
The findings suggest that dieters who have regained weight, I've done that, they're not just slipping back into old habits, but they're struggling against a persistent biological urge. So it's not my fault. Back off, everyone. Mainly Heidi. You just lost weight. Now you gained it back. I'm like, well, I really missed that weight. I mean, I hadn't seen it in like 30 whole days. If you're feeling bummed out, you might want to try working out. Oh, great. Perfect timing for this story. Recent study found 30 minutes of brisk walking immediately boosts your mood if you're depressed.
I agree with that. I always feel better after we go for a walk.
Also gives you a boost that would have maybe come from something else like cigarettes, caffeine, or binge eating. So if you're having the desire for those things,
that's a
just
good
go for a
idea.
walk
Go
instead.
for a walk instead.
Yeah. Researchers at the University of Texas at Austin found that depressed people who walked for 30 minutes reportedly feel more vigorous and had a greater sense of psychological well-being, especially if they're 30 minutes away from whatever was causing the problem. That really works. Have you ever heard of this, a liquid baby name? It's all the rage these days.
No.
Liquid baby names are the hottest thing. Liquid means the names are becoming increasingly soft-sounding, ditching hard consonants for a whole lot of vowels. Liam, Ethan, Ava, Amelia. Those are what they refer to as liquid names. I didn't know that. And finally, if your toddler smears the high chair tray with pudding and throws spaghetti all over the place, don't despair. Messy eaters learn more. That's the word from researchers at the University of Iowa. They've concluded that toddlers who are able to learn languages are also a little messier with their food. So if they learn languages sooner, they're messy. Our son is a messy eater.
Oh.
He's also very, very smart. I agree with this. He'll sit down to eat a chicken strip, and there'll be crumbs. It looks like somebody ran it through a wood chipper. I'm like, what are you doing over there? Anyway, this person, the associate professor in psychology, they studied 16-month-old children to learn how non-solid objects, from oatmeal to glue, not surprisingly, many children gleefully dove into this task by poking and prodding and touching and feeling and eating and, yes, throwing the non-solid foods. And then they found out the ones that were the messiest were also the smartest, according to them. Coming up, we got some more fun stuff to get to on this weekend edition of the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
How long's it been since you've been on vacation?
Way too long.
Well, we're going to Punta Cana this November for a cool event called 80s in the Sand.
I'm so looking forward to just being able to relax during the day. All day, every day for 7 full days. And, as a bonus, get to hear some awesome music at night.
You can also meet some 80s icons like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and many more.
Get all the details at 80sinthesand.com.
Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person.
That website again is 80sinthesand.com.
John and Heidi.
The summer driving season is fast approaching, and that means that there's going to be more and more drivers out on the roads, more than other times of the year. And this is a really good time of year to make sure that your tires are going to be okay on the road. And we've got some folks that know a whole lot about this. Right now, from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we're joined by famous racing father and daughter duo, Johnny and Lonnie Unser. How are you folks doing?
We're doing great.
You know, this is a time of year where we're going to have a lot of people out there driving. We want to make sure that they're as safe as possible on the highways and byways as they're out there cruising. And this is something with you guys being race car drivers. Every single time that you're on the track, you need to make sure those cars are tuned, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, millions of people are going to be taking to the road this summer driving season. And we have always taken safety, you know, very seriously here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway or wherever else we race. And Cooper Tires has developed this new app for your phone called Tread Wisely. And that's what we're here today talking about.
So, Johnny, since we're starting with you, let's talk about this. As a former professional race car driver, what would you say is the most important thing drivers should do to make sure that their car is ready for the road this summer?
Well, obviously do a full safety check of your car in general, you know, all your fluids and oils, etc. But really, the most important thing are those 4 patches that connect you to the road, those tire patches. And they're very small, only about the size of a dollar bill each one. So this app called Tread Wisely has a lot of features that make it very simple, including with reminders to check your tires.
And the thing that you're talking about there is the actual part of the tire that's touching the ground, because even though your tire is this big round thing, the whole thing is not touching the ground at once. It's just one little spot, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And, just doing some simple checks like inflation pressures, overall condition of the tires, tread depth, those are all very simple things. And the app has videos that actually teaches you in 2 minutes or less how to take care of and do these simple things. So it's very informative and very easy, user-friendly, I should say.
That's awesome. Lonnie, let's talk with you for a moment here. For young drivers out there, what would you say is the most important thing for a new or a young driver to know?
Just that your tires are the 4 things connecting you to the road, like my dad said. And to do these checks, we focus on tire pressure, tread depth, and the overall condition of your tires. And knowing how to take care of that and look at that is one of the most important things. And thankfully, this app was developed to help with that.
And Johnny, back to you. When it comes to thinking about the fact that your daughter's out there driving on the track, how important is safety in your mind? I'm assuming that's got to be top of mind.
Yeah, safety's the number one priority. And there's a neat feature in this app that, as a father, I really like. And I'll let Lonnie explain a little bit to you how it works, but it's called I Got There.
All right. How does that work?
Yeah, I Got There is a feature that my dad loves and I love, because it allows me to preset numbers and messages right into the app. And then, so for example, say I'm going to a friend's house, and I can set a reminder within the app that tells me to remind my dad in 20 minutes that I got there. And through those preset numbers and text messages, I can directly open the app and I hit 2 buttons and it sends a message to my dad saying, "Hey Dad, I love you, I got there." And it is super easy for him and he loves it. And it's super easy for me because it doesn't take any time out of my day.
That's really cool. What a great way to let people know that you're safe and have that peace of mind. That's a cool idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So now, if somebody listening is saying, "Hey, I'm interested in this app," where do we find this? Is it online somewhere?
No, you can go directly into the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, and it's free. So download it. You won't regret it.
And what do we look for when we get in there? What is it called? How do we find it in there?
It's called Tread Wisely.
Tread Wisely. And I'm going to have all this info on our social media to make it as easy as we possibly can. Again, Tread Wisely is the name of the app. Visiting right now with racing duo. It's a father and daughter duo, Johnny and Lonnie Unser. Now, visiting with Johnny, because you've been doing this a long time. How long ago did you start racing in NASCAR, Johnny?
Well, it's IndyCar is the direction that I went with my career, but I raced a lot of different types of cars, kind of working my way towards IndyCar. And I started doing it when I was really small and kind of worked my way along, just like Lonnie's starting to do with her career. Very
nice. And now, when you think about the importance of a good team when it comes to racing and just life in general, what would you say is some advice on the importance of having a good team around you?
Well, it's kind of interesting. In anything you do in the world today, it's important to surround yourself with good people. And it's no different in racing. The driver is just one part of the team. And, people often think it's more than that, but really we're just one member of the team, and it's important to have good people taking care of your tires, good engineers, working on your engine, your data acquisition guys. There's a lot of people that are very important on a team, and I think Lonnie's also learning that as she starts her racing career.
And let's talk about the pit stop. As people, that watch racing, they see that you drive in circles for a while, but then you'll stop there to have them look over the car and make sure things are fine, and then you take off again. How important are those pit stops? How important is each one of those?
Critically important. And you'll see that in the Indy 500. You probably have seen that in the Indy 500 in the past, but there's 6 pit stops or so in the Indy 500, and every one is critical because if you lose a few seconds in any one of them, it's going to add up at the end of the race. So pit stops are very important as you go through any race.
And let's talk about endurance as well. If you're looking at a race, you've got this long stretch of time and there's a whole lot of laps. How do you stay focused and how do you endure all of that time as you're working and keeping forward?
Well, I think that it's not hard for me to stay focused. You're going at such high speeds. You're pretty much locked in on what you need to do and taking care of the car, thinking about how to make the car handle better on each pit stop. So you're pretty focused. You're focused on the competition, who's in front of you, who's behind you, and what you can do to move up in the race. And you're communicating with your pits the whole time. So there's a lot going on. It's not a problem, at least for me. I've never lost focus when I'm driving. There's a lot going on.
Again, visiting right now with Johnny Unser and Lonnie Unser, and they are at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Yeah, thank you. And don't forget to download that Tread Wisely app. It's free.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Again, the app is called Tread Wisely. It's a great idea, and I love the fact that it's got that feature when you get there safely, you push a little button and it lets you know that, hey, I got here, everything's good. It's a cool idea. And again, we're going to have a link to that at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. But for those of you looking in the Apple App Store or in the Google Play Store, just look for Tread Wisely. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Would you like custom t-shirts for an event or sports team? We understand that usually the budget's not unlimited. We have full-color custom printed t-shirts for just $7 each. That's one of the best prices you'll find anywhere. No minimum orders, so you can print just one or print 1,000. The price is just $7 per shirt with a minimal setup fee per design. Make the memories of your next event last forever or help your team look amazing with a little help from CustomShirtInc.com. That's CustomShirtInc.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Oscar-winning Best Picture that has the longest title ever is The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the Kings. Yeah, it's the longest title to ever win the Oscars Best Picture.
I've never watched any of those.
What?
Lord of the Rings
or the Oscars
movies.
or both.
I don't watch the Oscars either, but
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Buckingham Palace has over 600 rooms. Can you imagine being the person that has to vacuum and tidy up in that place? That doesn't sound like fun.
I'm sure there's not one person.
Well,
I'm sure they have many people.
just
They have a
finished
plethora.
vacuuming. Now I got to go back and start over. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
In Czechoslovakia, there's a church that has a chandelier made of human bones.
Yuck.
Wow, that's kind of weird. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
There are mirrors on the moon. They were left there by astronauts so that laser beams could be bounced off of them from the Earth. These beams help give us the distance to the moon, give or take a few meters. So they're a way we can check and see if the moon is moving on us. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
When the volcano Krakatoa near Java exploded in 1883, it was so loud that people could hear it in North America. They're like, hey, I think that was Krakatoa. I mean, they probably didn't know that's what it was, but later they found out that big boom, it was Krakatoa. All right, couple of fun facts brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Movies and TV with no monthly fee. That's ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
If you promised yourself you'd lose weight before you went to the beach, that's still within reach. Get some help from a cool pink drink. Try it free at pinkdrinkfree.com. This pink drink tastes great and can help you lose weight. 8 out of 10 Americans are overweight. If you're tired of being one of them, we'd love to help. People around the country are experiencing amazing results with this pink drink, and you can try it before you buy it at pinkdrinkfree.com. That's pinkdrinkfree.com.
John and Heidi.
Ibuprofen may be the best thing to treat your children's fever. According to a new clinical trial, they found the best method of treating a fever is to start with ibuprofen alone and then use acetaminophen plus ibuprofen. Wow, that's a whole lot of medication there. Ibuprofen is the ingredient in brand name products like Advil and Motrin, while acetaminophen is found in things like Tylenol. Researchers at the University of Bristol in the United Kingdom said doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and parents wanting to use medicines to treat young, unwell children with fever should be advised to use ibuprofen first and to consider the relative benefits and risks of using acetaminophen plus ibuprofen over a 24-hour period. Is that how you do it, or do we just use generic whatever we have in the cupboard?
I just use generic whatever we have in the cupboard.
Like, I feel oozy and woozy, and I have a headache. And you're like, yeah, we got some generic.
Take this.
Blow the dust off this stuff and take some. There you go. Coming up, we're going to talk about scientists and what they're working on. That's all on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
I love watching TV shows and movies, but I hated seeing my monthly bill get higher and higher.
All that money every month just to watch TV. Well, not anymore. We cut our cable. We were paying $185 a month for channels we didn't even watch. Now we pay for just the internet, and we save about $150 a month. And we still get to watch what we want, when we want, with no monthly fee. Learn how you can do this too at channelsurfertv.com. Watch the video there to learn how to watch movies and TV with no monthly fee. Do it today and save 50% at channelsurfertv.com.
John and Heidi.
All right, I don't know if this is a good idea, but it's an idea. Scientists in Florida are developing a robot that is powered by meat. Why?
What?
The Choo Choo Gastro Robot. It's a 12-wheeled train-like robot, and it runs on microbial fuel, which breaks down food with bacteria and converts them into electrical energy cells. The cells work by producing enzymes that break down carbohydrates, releasing energy. Inventor Stuart Wilkinson, come back to that in a second. Terrible idea, Stuart. Why would you invent something that it has to eat food that we could be eating or could be eating us?
Maybe it's like the byproduct that is left over from plants
doesn't
that
sound like it.
after they're done processing the meat. Everything.
Mr. Wilkinson of the University of Florida says the ideal fuel for his robot is meat. Choo Choo may be developed into a lawnmower that eats grass clippings. A similar type of robot is being made in England that is powered by eating slugs. Can we just maybe not do that? I'm just saying. I'm imagining, like, fast forward 50 years and we got robots driving around eating people. Like, it's all because of Stuart Wilkinson and that stupid meat-eating robot.
I wonder if it, like I said, if it's the leftover junk from the meat packing facilities
Bad
that
idea.
they can't use.
Yeah.
Then that would be good
And I
because
get a
then you're
taste for
using
that,
waste.
and then it's, hey, I'm stuck eating all this waste. What if I just eat Heidi? I'm not going to vacuum for you anymore. Otherwise, I'm going to eat your leg. All right. Coming up, we've got a middle-aged couple that has the secret to marriage success.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. This beautiful, gorgeous specimen of a woman that sits next to me is my wife. And we've been married now 17 years.
Yes.
And going on 18 years. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
That's really cool. The secret to a long, happy marriage is no arguments. That's exactly what we have. No, wait, we do it differently. A middle-aged married couple in China says they used to argue ferociously every day until they hit on a magic recipe for a successful marriage. Never speak to each other.
Whoa!
For 5 years, they shared the same house and the same bed, and they didn't share a word. The husband told the East Day newspaper, "We haven't had an argument in 5 years," but they don't talk.
I don't think that'll work. It would be an awfully boring radio show.
It would be very boring around here if we couldn't talk to each other. Or I could just tell my side of a story and you could tell your side of the story, but we'd never look at each other or talk to each other. We could maybe give that a shot. I don't know. Probably not going to work.
John and Heidi.
How long's it been since you've been on vacation?
Way too long.
Well, we're going to Punta Cana this November for a cool event called 80s in the Sand.
I'm so looking forward to just being able to relax during the day. All day, every day for 7 full days. And, as a bonus, get to hear some awesome music at night.
You can also meet some 80s icons like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and many more.
Get all the details at 80sinthesand.com.
Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person.
That website again is 80sinthesand.com.
John and Heidi.
Welcome to summer. Welcome to sunburn season. You get sunburns once in a while. Mm-hmm. I remember there was a picture of you on Facebook once where you were like totally sunburned.
Oh, it was awful.
You fell asleep in the hammock, didn't you?
Yes.
She's like, hey, we should put in a relaxing hammock in the backyard. And I put it in, and she's like, I like this. And then I put a canopy over it so you could fall asleep in it.
Speaking of that, we still have our portable hammock, right?
Somewhere.
I want to put that back.
I don't know where
in
that
the
is.
backyard.
Hey, for those of you who like to frolic in the sun, and make sure you put on some sunscreen. And they say the best places that people forget are your back and shoulders. So sunburn, it says sunburns call for multi-step treatment. You have to deal with both the acute issue of discomfort while the potential long-term damage. Susan Winkle, an assistant professor of dermatology at the University of South Florida in Tampa, says, apply damp compress made from clean cloth, soaked in a mixture of teaspoon of baking soda and cool water. 2 cups of cool water. So this is if you did not wear the sunscreen. So you get sunburn. That's what you're supposed to do to help. Or you could use chilled, unused tea bags on the affected skin
I've heard
area
that,
for 5
but
minutes.
oh my gosh, it would take a lot of tea bags.
Yeah, so they're saying if you got a lot of this going on, anyway, I'm going to put a link to this on our Facebook page because we don't have time to get to all of it. But it's some good tips this time of year for people who got a little bit of too much sun. Coming up, we've got some good news for you. That's on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is pretty darn good news. This is just a really neat story. So some of our good news is like affects a lot of people. This one really, it affects kind of like one person, but it's just a cool story. Heidi, this is a great example of ambition and tenacity. Despite not paying a dime, 18-year-old LaFonso Ross is the proud new owner of a Sacramento thrift store on Broadway. He did not win it in a contest. He did not inherit it from a loved one. Instead, LaFonso Ross earned it with hard work and persistence. Former owner Jonelle Ramos said that he came to her after she put the store up for sale. She said, LaFonso said, I had half a month to get everything together, to get my business license, to get my secondhand dealer's permit, but she was struggling to sell the store. He was ambitious, he was hardworking, and he was saying, hey, I want to run it, I want to keep it going. And she's like, yeah, let's give it to you. How cool is that?
That is pretty cool.
You know, and here's the thing. There are a lot of people out there who I think would be in a similar situation if they said, hey, you know what, here's a way that I would win on this, and here's a way that you would win on this. If there was just somebody that would come along and keep their dream alive. You know, I talk to business owners who, you know, they put their heart and soul into this thing. They've run it this way for 50 years. And then all of a sudden, when they sell it, the people that come along, they change it and ruin it, in their mind, ruin it. So I think there are a lot of people who would go, you know what? I think I would do that if somebody was going to keep it the way that I want it and they were going to do it the way that I did it to keep this legacy alive. I think it's really neat. Anyway, I've got a link to that story on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Time now for a bonus break on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us on the line right now. Venae Watts is with Minerva Dairy, and we're going to talk about National Dairy Month. How you doing, Venae?
I'm doing good today.
Wow, we're excited to have you. June is National Dairy Month. Now, your family has been in the dairy business for quite a while, haven't you?
Oh, yes, I'm the fifth generation member of our family who's been running this business since 1894. And my generation is me and my brother. My father is the fourth generation. He's still here, but, you know, he's 69, so he comes in when he wants and he leaves when he wants. And then we have about 12, and one on the way in the next generation.
Wow. On a dairy farm, I'm assuming it's not just a one-man job, is it?
Oh, no. We have also employees that have been with us for years that help out, and we have a lot of local farms in Northeast Ohio that have been dairy farming for generations. So it's also like their grandfather talked to my grandfather, and they're still milking cows. And we pull the milk from those local family farms in Northeast Ohio into our facility here, and then we make the cheese and butter. So we're butter makers and cheese makers.
That is really cool. And now let's talk about the dairy industry and how that affects a lot of the people that are listening are probably utilizing your products every day.
Well, yes, that's true. I guess there's dairy in your kitchen all the time. So the dairy industry follows, like, you know, you need the milk to make cheese and butter, and also, you know, for milk in the schools. The schools are very big on, one thing that's affected is the schools, because when they're in session or out of session, it does affect us on what is being done, because you always have cheese, milk, they use butter in their cooking, so that's one way, and your kids go to school every day, and they need dairy in their diet. Another one that you have in your, you know, everything you have, you put cheese on it or you cook with it, especially along in the kitchen years ago. It was always butter and cheese, and then people started to get away from butter, and now they're realizing that the health content and the importance of having butter and not having a substitute, you know, you have margarine or other forms, it's not that healthy for you. there's additives to it, where the butter is all natural. It's just cream and sea salt. And so you've got it like, Grandma used to make on the farm. And that type of butter fat, which is you're looking for a higher content of butter fat, is actually healthier for you in the long run. So you're seeing a lot of people going back to what that was, too. So it's like a trend in the kitchen, but it's always there, some form. But it's needed. We're coming back to it. And our butter that we make is an 84% butter fat butter, which is the highest that you can get right now in the country. And that's what's driving a lot of the health factors with the higher butter fat, because it's a healthy fat.
That's awesome. Again, visiting with Venae Watts, fifth-generation family member from Minerva Dairy. Now, what makes Minerva Dairy unique from other dairies?
Well, one, we're the America's oldest cheese and butter dairy in the country, so that has us stand out.
Nice.
One other thing that's unique just about us, besides our heritage, is that we use our milk comes from cows that are pasture raised, which is different than grass-fed. Pasture raised is our cows have a decision. If they want to go out on the field, they can. If it's raining and they don't want to go out on pasture, they can come back into the barn. They have that freedom of choice to go in and out. They graze on the field naturally, from the grass right there. It's not cut and fed to them like a grass-fed where it's cut and fed and they're in stalls. It's naturally fed. So we do give them more than just grass because we are in Northeast Ohio, and if we just had to eat grass in the winter, that wouldn't be very healthy. They would starve. So the nutrition of the cow is also very important from our farms, of what they eat. They have a nutrition program they work with the veterinarians with to make sure that the cows are the healthiest that they can be.
Very cool. Again, this is National Dairy Month in June, and we're talking with Venae Watts, fifth-generation family member from Minerva Dairy. And I see here that you guys have some fun recipes for National Dairy Month. And are those on your website? Is that where we can find those?
We do. We have Venae's Kitchen, which is me, and we have a bunch of recipes that are out on minervadairy.com. You just click on Venae's Kitchen. And we have some neat things that you can do, especially for the fun coming up for the grilling season. I just on Sunday made sriracha butter, which is the new butter that we're launching, the flavor infused, which is coming out in about a month, that you'll be able to look for on the website or at your local store. And the garlic herb butter is a great one for recipes for grilling. Spread that on shrimp, scallops. It's wonderful. But there's all kinds of fun stuff that you can click on there and find what to do with it.
Very nice. And that's minervadairy.com?
Yes, minervadairy.com. We also have a store locator on there if you're interested to learn where you can pick up some Minerva Dairy products. You can put in your zip code, and it'll tell you all the stores that are near you.
Awesome. Venae, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Again, Venae Watts, fifth-generation family member from Minerva Dairy, and it's the nation's oldest dairy for butter and for milk, so that's really kind of cool. And we're helping to celebrate. It's a big month, National Dairy Month. It's going on the whole month of June. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.